Just a nice one.
Okay. Looks like we are good. Chaz, I need you to scoot in a little bit.
Again? I mean, I'm not big enough to fit in. Back it up.
We got you. We got you. Okay.
Do you want to back it up?
Now we're good. No, it's good. I want to be able to catch that. Okay. Webcast is live.
I'm looking for some guys.
Served.
Go,
Oh, thank you for that visual. Now that we have it.
I can. It's done? Is it?
Yep. I'm working on it. I'm going to have to get somebody to come down and test the measurements on the side of it.
Okay. Okay.
Great. Child restraining order on him. My son is. Yeah, we went, ready to go Wednesday. She refused to go restraining.
Was Jim on the board
Very glad and the kids need to see him.
at any time?
Jim,
So she agreed to let Casey and all of us go see the kids that Wednesday afternoon.
now he worked for Rocky Boots.
Overnight.
I don't ever recall him talking about that. He's on the board at the Y in Lancaster.
And so this is.
That's the only thing I know of.
She wanted to talk. And I was about ready to bring his neck because he went over there. She took care of that with Corey. He still stands in the document. He filed for custody, and he's going to buy around the house. So that's where it's sheer pain. She's got no job.
Yeah, I saw that a while ago. I came up here and Kim and I did. She's probably a nice guy. At prime rib. He's prime rib. Like, I didn't know whether it was a football or a piece of prime rib. I mean,
The reality set in when she got
Green dinner,
lawyer
Callie,
stating what his
and Heather, and he came to mind, and he said,
Plenty of moisture in the sand.
They did.
That's awesome.
It's 7 o'clock. All right, guys, everybody ready to go? Okay. Can you hear me all right? I call this March 20th, 2018 meeting of the Hideaway Hills Board of Trustees to order. Let the record show that all board members are in attendance except for Greg Patassa, Jim Krieger, and Jim Lloyd, who are so excused. Only Hideaway Hill members and staff are permitted to be in attendance. Robert's Rules of Order will apply at this meeting except during open forum, when they will be not strictly observed, and the chair will serve as the moderator. Please turn off all cell phones and pagers. And let's adopt the agenda. May I have a motion to adopt the proposed agenda for the evening?
So make that motion.
That was too quick. Hold on, this is my first.
I think Tom beat you to it, so I'll second.
Okay, great. Got that taken care of. Okay. We're going to do things a little bit different on the agenda tonight. We have Mr. Rubin here, Mr. Brian Rubin. He is going to, I guess, make a presentation to us. Just give everybody a little bit of background. Last summer, he was fined for operation of his Sea-Doo, his watercraft, being thought that it was not being done safely. And
no, reckless driving, actually.
And
you used the word
reckless
driving.
So he had, in addition to that, he has stopped paying his assessment, and he is at risk of being further fined. Mr. Rubin certainly has the right to appeal, and we certainly want to get this resolved and try to get this put behind us. This has all been negotiated ahead of time. You will get 30 minutes. And Mr. Rubin, the floor is yours.
Okay. As you said, basically I got 2 tickets this summer. Basically you say I reckless drive. I have no idea what you guys consider reckless driving. I use the law to tell me what reckless driving means, and that means I almost killed somebody. So you've given me 2 tickets that says I almost killed somebody. Now, if you want to give me a better definition, if I've missed the definition in your rules and you've defined reckless driving, I'll look at it. But from what I can tell, you're telling me basically I've almost killed 2 people. But that's the way I look at it. I'm just trying to give you a perspective for me. Everything about right now, what I'm about to do, I hate with a passion. I hate having to be here. I hate having to talk in front of people. I'm an introvert. I don't even like this. I left my job 5 years ago because I hate being in front of people. But I have to do it because you've said I've almost killed 2 people. So that kind of makes me mad. Who are the 2 or 3 new members who weren't here before all this happened? Who are the new members? Year 1, year 1. The 3rd one? Okay, I'm not as mad as you guys right now. You'll see that I'm extremely mad.
Mr. Rubin, please address us as a group and not individually.
I'm sorry. Okay. As a group, I will try to do that. Again, you've given me 30 minutes. I'll try to go over 30 minutes. In order to get done with 30 minutes, we can't review any of my video. Just quickly, the second incident, I didn't go on the lake and get a ticket. I actually stuck a camera on my head, went on the lake and did things that I thought were well within the rules. I wanted to see if I was going to get pulled over. Imagine me, I got pulled over. Okay, I was testing you. It wasn't the other way around. You guys kind of failed the test. And again, I had a camera. In the letter you sent me, in the second letter you sent me, you acknowledged that you knew I had a camera on my head. And you still sent me a letter saying I reckless drove and I had a camera on my head. That's really, I must be an incredibly stupid human being. But I did have a camera on my head. I have the video on YouTube. I'll be glad to open it up to anyone who wants to view it and see where you can tell me where I reckless drove. I'd be glad to do that. Lisa, my next door neighbor, said I should come in here and just tell you what I want. And maybe you'll give it to me. I don't even have to waste 30 minutes. And I thought that was a relatively good idea. Basically, the first question I have is, why are you willing to lie about me? Okay, I've gotten 3 letters from you that have a total of 6 lies on them. 4 of them I can prove by videotape, 2 of them I can prove by circumstantial evidence. You literally have lied about me 6 times in 3 letters, and they're signed. That's actually called libel. If you would have done it to my face, that would have been called something else. Let's see, where am I? So the first question, why are you willing to lie to me? The second question I have is, we're going to sit here right now and you're going to tell me what I can't do. I don't know what I can do and what I can't do on the lake. I'm going to give you examples and you're going to tell me why I can't do them on the lake. It's relatively easy. As far as I'm concerned, this is what I'm going to do all year, all summer long. You'll be able to take movies of me doing it. You'll be able to see me. I'll wave at you. And again, I would like you to tell me what I can't do before I leave today, or why I can't do the things I'm about to tell you. I don't know if those are within the rules. You're more than welcome to write a detailed explanation and send me a letter before the summer, because again, I plan on doing this all summer long. Okay, first thing, does everyone know where I live? The lake's right around here. I live right here on the lake, right smack in the middle. I'm the one who built the new dock on the lake. That gives you an idea of where I am. I have 3 pontoons sitting right in front of my house, and I can see the whole entire south side of the lake. I can sit right in front of my dock, and this is what I'm going to do. I will actually have a videotape on my dock, because that's why I want to do it in front of my dock, just in case I do something wrong. We can try to figure out exactly what I did wrong. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wait. I can see the whole entire lake. I see a boat coming around like this. They come around, they pass my house. They make a beautiful little wake for me. I'm sitting right next to the first pylon, sitting right in front of my house. I literally dot out my wave runner, and I do everything that you might even hate. I'm telling you, I flip my jet ski, I barrel roll it, I fall off of it, I jump in the air, I do donuts, I do figure eights. Literally anything in your mind you can think of that I can do, I'm going to do sitting in front of my house. When I see the next boat coming up, I have plenty of room. I'm going to dive. I'm going to go out, sit next, wait for the boat, and I'm going to do it all over again. That's basically what I'm going to do most of the day. I want you to tell me right now, what rule am I breaking? What boating rule am I breaking? I don't know a boating rule that I'm breaking. I've gone through every boating rule I'm breaking. Technically, I'm here because you gave me a ticket for doing this on the lake. I plan on flipping my jet ski this year. I'm gonna fall, I'm gonna have a whole bunch of fun. There's another place, north side of the lake, beautiful place. You know, the boats can come around, it's got this big view, and you can get these big, huge waves. I mean, it is really cool. If you guys ever use a jet ski, you know what I'm talking about. Big, massive waves. I'm gonna sit right at the pylon at the very beginning, at the very north end of the lake. I'm gonna wait for the boat to come around. I'm gonna wait for one of these beautiful waves to be made. I'm gonna grab my throttle and I'm gonna shoot out like a bat out of hell. I'm gonna hit one of those waves and my jet ski's gonna launch 20, 30 feet in the air. I got it up to about 15, 20 feet last summer. If I'm brave, I'll hold on to the jet ski, try to bring it down and drive away, but probably I'm gonna push away from the jet ski, fall into the water, swim back to my jet ski, get on my jet ski and throw it away. Again, what rule did I break? Is there a rule? Can you think of a rule that I broke? I go through the boat rules. I can't think. I went through every rule. You know, I can't even think of a rule that you can make that I would break. Can someone tell me a rule? You see me doing this all summer long. You're like, I don't want Brian to do this anymore. Can anyone tell me what rule you can even make to stop me from doing it? Anybody? As far as I'm concerned, if I get pulled over this summer for doing either one of those two things, I'll be back here yelling my brains off at you. Whatever I can do, actually probably my payments will stop again if anything like that happens. But basically, I've told you exactly what I'm doing. You're more than welcome to write me a letter and say, Brian, the things that you told me, these are the reasons you're not allowed to do them. And I can come back and we can discuss them head to head. But again, I thought of everything I could possibly think of. I'm going to do that practically, let alone doing zigzags. Believe me, I'll be doing zigzags all day long. So those are the things you can think about those are the questions I ask. Now what I'm going to do is kind of go over real quick the synoptics of the things that happened to me over the last summer and why I'm so mad. I've gotten, as I said before, I've gotten 3 letters from you signed by you, 2 of them by you, 1 of them by Greg, that has a total of 6 lies in them. The second letter, as I said, camera on my head. You still said that I reckless drove. Just out of curiosity, when you were writing and signing the letter and you said, it says in the letter, you knew I had a camera on my head. Did you at least turn to Roger and say, Roger, did he drive bad? Are you sure he was reckless? He had a camera on his head. Why would he have a camera on his head and then drive reckless? Did you ask him that? Did you even think about it when you wrote the letter? I mean, I really don't understand it. It really is mind-boggling to me that you guys are doing this to me. You guys, as I said, the second letter says I reckless drove. Okay, I've owned a wave runner for 40 year. I bought it July of 1978, 40 years ago. I bought a jet ski. I used a jet ski in Michigan when I was 16 years old, and I thought for sure I'd get pulled over by some asshole telling me I'm not allowed to use my wave runner. And you know, I did in Michigan. And then I moved to New Jersey, and I used it in the ocean in front of the lifeguards and in the Bay of New Jersey. Never had a problem. Never got pulled over. I go to California. I use it in front of SeaWorld. I think SeaWorld's going to give me problems because I'm watching the SeaWorld things go on while I'm playing with my jet ski. Nope, they didn't have a problem. They come to bumfuck Ohio, and you guys give me a ticket for goddamn reckless driving. It actually is mind-boggling to me. I don't understand what's going on here. It truly is mind-boggling to me. I hate to tell you, there are only 3...
Mr. Rubin, please just watch the language.
I'm sorry. There are 3 rules if you read the boat rules. There are technically 3 rules to dictate what you're allowed to do on a wave runner or on a boat or on anything. One of them is speed. I don't have any argument with speed. Everything I just said, I'm never going to get to 30 miles an hour before I hit the wakes and stuff like that anyway. I won't go over 30 miles an hour. The second rule that I have to follow is counterclockwise flow. You guys seem to think that's an donut rule or something along those lines. I hate to tell you, if I leave my dock and do this, I'm maintaining a counterclockwise flow the whole time, even though I'm doing donuts the whole time while I'm doing it. I hate to tell you, all that means is I have to go in the right direction. Don't go in the wrong direction. But if I'm going in the wrong directions for a quarter of a second while I'm doing a donut on the lake, on my wave runner, I hate to tell you, it's not that. And you guys can keep trying to think that that's what that means. We'll fight that out all you want. And then you have the reckless driving. And again, you guys, in my book, you seem to use reckless driving to mean anything you don't like. If you don't like someone doing something on the lake, you'll have Roger pull them over, give them a reckless driving ticket. Well, again, I consider reckless driving to be incredibly serious. In the third letter I got, the one from Greg, he mentioned he actually put in it that there was 2 members who weren't associated who agreed that the security guard pulled me over, and if the security guard pulled me over for reckless driving, those 2 members say I reckless drove. And I am not at all beyond taking this to court. If I ever do take this to court, those 2 people are the first 2 people I will go after. You should probably warn them. We can't figure things out someday. Those people are really, can't even believe Greg put that into the letter to tell you now. It's got truth. My wife keeps telling me not to piss you guys off, and I'm sorry. Why? You guys are lying about me. Why do I care if I piss you off? And I'm sorry about my language. I want to just take a couple seconds to introduce my wife to you. Just so you know who you're lying about, I think it's fair that you know who my wife is. Some of you might have met her, and she's an unbelievably wonderful person. But what I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of people, she doesn't like talking about herself. But again, you're lying about her and me. Now, I'm not very impressive compared to her, but just so you know who my wife is, and if you get a chance to get to know her, you would be stupid not to. But my wife was the valedictorian of our high school. She is a Mensa member. She has all kinds of awards. Like, you can't believe when she was young for her brains. I don't know how you got that. I know how people get the horse stuff, but I don't understand how you get for brains. My wife graduated summa cum laude. I got half an hour, right? What time is it?
Well,
It would be nice if it pertained to.
It is. You're lying about me and my wife. My wife is an incredibly impressive human being, and I can't believe you would even consider lying about her. So I'm trying to tell you, if you don't want to know it, okay. But my wife is. Let's start at the end. She's the CEO and chairman of the pathology department at the Ohio State University. She is right now in Vancouver, Canada, becoming the president of 2 organizations, one called US Capital, one's called IAP. They have about 440,000 members. She became the president of it 2 days ago. You're lying about her. Stop lying about her. She doesn't deserve being lied about. Now let's go through the first incident, okay? The first.
Excuse me 1 second, are you recording this?
No, he wouldn't let me.
the web, we're doing the web.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure.
Okay. I wanted to record it.
It just looked like there was something in his top pocket.
Candy. Okay, where were we? Okay, first incident. We're gonna start in the morning. I get up in the morning, I've had a problem with my jet ski since the dams. We all have problems with our boats. A lot of people have problems with our boats. Finally got Tom Reiser to come take a look at it. He suggests I pull all the gas out of it, so I pulled all the gas out of it. Saturday morning, the date of the first incident, I go down, fill up the gas in my wave runner, and I'm ready to go use it. Finally, I think I'm going to use it. I pull out of my dock, and my wave runner goes. You put the gas on, it would go a couple of feet, and then it would die. Okay, did that over and over again. I said, okay, I got to get the gas going, flowing through. So I go out to the pylon next to my house, and I start going slowly and surely, my wave runner starts going a little bit faster. I get to the end, I go slowly back here, because I always want to be going the right way, so if the wave runner does start taking off, I can just easily go into the lake. I'm right next to the pylons, literally right next to it, but I want to be on the inside of the pylon because I don't have to look behind me. My wave runner's having problems, so I don't want a boat to hit me if they're coming around. So I'm right next to the pylon, but on the inside. I do that 3 or 4 times. Anybody have a problem with what I'm doing? Anybody see a problem with it? Okay. Roger comes screaming over, blaring his horn. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He says, "You can't do what you're doing in the..." I said, "What are you talking about?" He says, "You can't make a wake there." I'm saying, Roger, I'm 30 inches from the pole. I don't want to go on this side because I don't want to have to look over my head. I'm having a problem with my jet ski. I explained exactly kind of what I just explained to you, Dan. He says, you're not allowed to make a wake here. Stop doing that. So I just pull into my garage. I say, screw it. And Roger pulls away. I pull into my thing. And again, anybody have, did Roger do anything wrong? Should Roger have come and done that? Is that right? I mean, I personally think Roger should have come to me and said, oh, are you having a problem? What are you doing? Do you need help? Not yelling at me. He should be asking I'm a member. Do you need help? Are you having a problem? He might not even know where I live. He should ask, can I drag you, can I pull you back to your house or something like that? I have no idea. I don't even know why he came over in the first place. But at least he could have said, do you need help? Not yell at me, stop that right now. I mean, that's basically the way he said it to me. That's what happened in the morning. I really think it was bad, but that's what happened. So, he's not here. Okay. So I go back. Into the dock. Karen McNabb and Jim McNabb come over, and he gives me some stuff to put into my gas to make maybe my jet ski run. I go out and I kind of do the whole thing over again, and the jet ski starts going. So I go into the lake, and I start going down the lake, and I'm going 20, 25 miles an hour. That's as fast. If I go anything over 25 an hour, my jet ski just it stops. I mean, there is definitely a problem. After this day, I took it to ask. It cost me $1,600 to fix it. It was a major problem with it, but I got it running for a little while, 25 miles an hour tops. Okay, so I'm going around the lake. Second time I'm going on the lake, I'm starting to have fun, so I start doing this. Just little zigzags. Really nothing compared to what I said before when you couldn't tell me I was doing something wrong when I want to flip my jet ski. I was just literally doing this like this. And again, Roger comes screaming over. He says, you're not allowed to do that. I said, what are you talking about? He says, you're not allowed to zigzag on the lake. He literally loses his hands and uses the word zigzag. I say, Roger, what are you talking about? I was doing nothing. He says, you're on a wave runner. You're not allowed to zigzag at all. I'm like, Roger, can you tell me what rule you're talking about? Can you at least tell me what rule? And over and over, you're not allowed to zigzag. You're not allowed to zigzag. And I looked at him and I said, Roger, I'm going to zigzag. I'm allowed to do it. You can't tell me I'm allowed to do it. If you don't want me to do this, kick me off the lake. I dare you. And I said it exactly like that. He kicked me off the lake. Okay, my wife would not be proud of what I said to him after that. I don't care. I am proud of what I said, but my wife absolutely would not be proud of what I said. I yelled at him after he kicked me off the lake, not before he kicked me off the lake. Okay, so that's basically. So he kicked me off the lake. I got off the lake and I'm going back to my dock. I start yelling at my wife starts yelling at me. She goes, "You listen to him. He's the security guard. I want to be friends with the people in this community. You don't." She literally read me the riot act for 5 minutes. She said, "You have to just listen to what he says." My wife is like, "You live on the lake. Go out when Roger's not on the lake. Go out at 6 o'clock at night. Go play all you want. Just don't do it when Roger's on the lake." And I kind of said, okay. Next day, I'm sitting on my dock and Roger pulls somebody over right in front of my dock. I start waving because I want to talk to the wave runner. I just want to say, I had the same problem with Roger. Maybe we should talk to each other. I start waving and Roger sees me and this wave runner doesn't see me and Roger comes over and I'm like, Roger, I don't want to talk to you. My wife did. My wife comes down and said, Roger, I want to talk to you for a second. Again, she's the reasonable. She goes to Roger and says, Roger, can you tell me what my husband did wrong? And Roger said, you can't zigzag on the lake. And my wife said, if Brian is the only person on the lake, are you saying he can't do that on the lake? And Roger said, yeah, you are not allowed to zigzag on the lake. And then my wife said, is there anything else he did besides zigzag? No, the only thing he did is he zigzagged on the lake and you're not allowed to zigzag on the lake. Again, my wife will be good on the stand of a court to say that. And that's why I wanted to tell you who she was. Now, anybody here believe that my jet ski would go over 30 miles an hour on that day? $1,600. I have multiple people who will tell you, including Jim, that at least I was having problems. Is there a member here who thinks that my wave runner would go over 30 miles an hour? Do you? Do you believe me? Okay, so everyone seems to believe me. Well, why did I get a letter that says, Your white and yellow see doing zigzag turns at a rapid speed. And then you use the speed limit as one of the reasons why you're giving me this ticket. Cool. How can I get a ticket on a wave runner that didn't go over 25 miles an hour? And how did I get a letter that says that I didn't? And if you take the high speed out, this letter is irrelevant. The only thing that's wrong, that you were even saying that I did wrong, was go at a high speed. That is an absolute 100% lie. You should be more concerned about it than you seem to be. You should be very concerned about it because you must have been the one who lied. Because I don't think Roger's the one who did it. I don't think he thought it was wrong that it was at high speed. He told my wife that you can't zigzag on the lake. He said it over and over and over again. So basically, that's why I'm mad. I'm mad because at least one of those are lies. That's the lies I can prove because I have a jet ski that costs $1,600 and a whole bunch of people saw me have problems with it that day. The other incident I have completely on video. I will be glad that does anyone here want to go over that video so we can find it? It will take us about 9-10 minutes. I don't think it should be out of my half an hour, but the video is about 9-10 minutes long. Does anybody want to sit here and watch it so we can see if I reckless drove? And again, third letter, it has reckless driving in it. You say I reckless drove. I have video that I didn't reckless drive. Okay, so basically, that's where I am. You don't care about me, so I won't tell you about me. You should, but that's besides the point. Again, who believes I wore a camera on my head and broke the rules of Highway Hill? Does anybody believe that? Anybody out there believe that, just out of curiosity? I mean, I don't understand. I shouldn't have to be here. I don't even know what you want. The one thing I know, you're not going to get the $100 fine. You're never going to get that. Now, if you guys can tell me why this is happening and everything before I leave today, I'll pay the money I owe you. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't see how you're going to resolve this, so you probably have lost all the money that I've owed you. Now, I have all the rules. I have them all here. All the rules. Basically, I've read everything, and basically, we're at the point where you have to do an Article 9 action. They're doing an Article 9 action against me. Okay, that kind of means that you're going to put a lien on my house. Feel free. Put a lien on my house. I actually had a lien on my other house until I bought this house from California and San Francisco, and it actually saved me a couple times in terms of my credit. So if you can't really get credit, and since for the rest of my life I won't need credit, I don't care if you put a lien on my house, but unless you can tell me why you lied about me, I may not pay again. And as far as I can tell, you can't really do much except for not allow me to go to one or two things that I might want to go to. And I'm kind of curious what would happen if me and Wendy went to the concert. It would be, I think, the next thing me and Wendy would go to that we're not allowed to do. I'd like to see you forcibly remove my wife from the concert. I don't know what you're going to do, but I'm not paying until I get an answer why all this stuff is happening. Have a nice day.
Thanks, Mr. Rubin. I think probably the issue is safety concerns that we have. I appreciate you going and sharing your issues with us. I've read through the incident reports as has every member of the board. We stand behind our staff.
Okay, so you're saying I went at high speed. You're saying my jet ski went at high speed.
Mr. Rubin, I'm not saying that.
Well, that's what
I'm saying is we back our staff.
Behind your great employees.
Yes.
Okay, well, they're lying sacks of shit then.
You know what? We don't, that's it. All right? If you can't have a civil discourse here.
What am I supposed to think? What am I supposed to think? I literally could not go 30 miles an hour. Literally.
I don't know that it's the speed. I don't think we are either. And
what do you say?
I don't believe we're going to be able to solve this. I mean, it really comes down to, are you operating safely on the lake? We as board members have the safety of everybody else, not just you, in mind.
But again,
we're making this decision.
You pulled me over for zigzagging. This year, I'm going to try to flip my way around. What rule?
I think if you do that on a Monday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
No, it's better when it's crowded. The more crowded it is, the better it is. I'm going to be out there the more crowded it is, not less.
Okay.
So you are trying to kill somebody?
No, I have a clear
So it won't
view.
be reckless until you kill somebody, is that what?
No, I have a clear view. Oh, so you're telling me the boats who are pulling 3 people behind them and doing this on the lake with 3 people behind them, so somehow they're being very careful, but on a jet ski alone, I'm somehow going to kill somebody. And I'm not pulling anybody, I'm alone on my way, Brennan. You think I'm going to have a chance of killing someone where these people doing this stuff down the lake isn't? I don't get it. Flipping a jet ski doesn't mean you kill somebody. I can show you videos of it. I brought this thing.
Val?
I think, with all due respect, what we're here to do this evening for this segment with Mr. Rubin is to listen. And if you're finished, then we appreciate you coming.
Right, thank you.
And that's what we're here
Yes.
to do,
Okay.
not to
Great.
Yeah, we're not
discuss.
coming in
Okay.
any decision.
Thank
As I said, feel free to put a lien on my house. I got no problem with it.
Just let him do that.
Okay. All right, moving on. We have one other open session we're going to deal with right now. Marty Gossett, I believe you would like to speak about quilting here in the hills?
Ginger's gonna
Ginger,
say
okay.
Passed it over to me. Ginger Reed, lot 186.
She's got more experience up there than Mike.
There's a group that started the Stitchers Guild here in Hideaway Hills, and I was not a part of that, but they got together down here with their sewing machines and they made quilt squares and they made a beautiful quilt. That quilt we want to put it upstairs this next month along with other quilts to display and then sell raffle tickets for the quilt. The funds from the raffle will go towards buying supplies for to make more quilts, to make pillowcases for
Children's Hospital.
the Children's Hospital. And then the next quilt that's made will either be given to charity, or if it's raffled, then the funds will go to a charity. So we just need your approval to be able to do this.
And they're a subcommittee of the social committee.
Yes.
Okay.
So we will not it'll be like the pets where they were under. And so that way our money is in it's separate line on the treasurer's report versus being in with the social committee's money.
Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. Yeah, I'll second it.
What was the motion, just to approve it?
Yes.
Do you
So
want me to make a motion?
let's see, how does, yays, is that how it goes?
All in
favor.
All in favor, that's right.
Aye.
Aye, any dissensions? That's not right either.
And in the minutes, we have to do that too.
And, sounds like it passes.
All right, thank you much.
So we might want to go back to the minutes and just say all in favor. Because we made the motion for approving the minutes of the last meeting, and we didn't say all in favor. So,
What does everybody think about the last
motion?
The last motion to approve the
I say aye.
The adoption.
adoption, everybody? Okay, great, thank you. Okay, next on the list is the president's report. Obviously Greg's not here, and he had an urgent family matter. He got out of town fairly quick. He was supposed to send me his president's report, and he didn't get to it. So I don't think anybody cares what the secretary has to say. So I think we're going to move on. My guess is he'll have it for everybody in the Echo. So please read Craig's report in the Echo when it comes to it. Okay. Correspondence. Valerie, do you have anything to read?
We have no correspondence.
No correspondence. Okay, got it. Consider the minutes. Will a member of the board make a motion to approve the minutes from February 20th, regular board meeting? Linda?
Second.
Dwayne? All in favor?
Aye.
Not in favor? Okay, good. All right.
Motion's carried.
Motion's carried. Okay. All right. Treasurer's report. Tom Matthews.
Yes, in the board checking account as of February 28th, 2018, we have $97,226.78 in the Benton County Bank.
Okay. Somebody like to make a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
So moved. Second.
Dwayne and then Fritz. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, moving right along, management committee report, Mr. Chaz Cross.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Nice job, I might add.
Yeah.
I'll let Randy cover the delinquency totals for both assessments and the roads over the last month. The dam assessment total is $410,507. One of the big things that we talked about in the last 2 or 3 meetings was my sliding over into Jim Krieger's position and picking up the responsibilities associated with chairing the management committee. It took me a little bit of time to get up to speed on our budget process, which we officially have behind us. A little collateral damage in the meantime with us being late getting out our increases to our employees and staff. As of today, we have officially granted the increases for all of the maintenance and the security staff. And I will have the lodge staff pinned down and to Randy by the end of the week. Bottom line is that I had some spreadsheets and things like that Jim had passed along to me, and a lot of them were, he had worked with them for years, and it was tough for me to understand them, so I converted them into my own spreadsheet, which is easier for me to understand, which helped promote the process. But we officially have that behind us. Those increases are retroactive back to the first of the year to make everybody whole. And I'm proud to say that not only did we provide our staff with some decent increases, some of which were long overdue, but we also did it well under budget as it relates to what I was given to grant to everybody involved. So it was kind of a win-win situation. I'm not done with it yet. We'll be done with the folks upstairs. They're a little bit tougher to pin down because there's a lot of turnover, a lot of people coming and going. But I'll get it pinned down by the end of the week, and we'll move forward on that. Part of our priority list for 2018, once we we determined that we're probably going to have to table the new guard shack until next year this time, was to move on to our second priority, which is going to be our roads. Our culverts and our ditches that have sustained huge damage over the last year and a half. We tasked Randy with going out and trying to put together a list that can help us prioritize where we're in most need for our repair. That area at this time is going to be in the motopave areas and on the sides of the motopave areas that we've done over the last 2 years. I missed the management meeting because I was sick last Tuesday. I raised an eyebrow at that and said, okay, well, help me out here. We're gonna pay more attention to the motopave area than we are some of these other areas. The fact is, we can't afford to lose any portion of what we've gained in the motopave sections. So we're going to very quickly address those areas so that we're sure that on both sides of the road that we've shored things up enough to where we're not in danger of losing not only the roadway but the motopave with it, which makes more than enough sense. That doesn't require that we address every inch of the motopave that we've accomplished over the last 2 years, just the ones that are the most severe. And one trip down the golf course hill will tell you what we're talking about. We've looked at a couple of different scenarios, lining the ditches with clay that we would pull out of Area 54. And then we would either, we first started out to pour concrete over top of them, but we've since shifted our thought process to pavement. We had a local paver attend the meeting to give us a little bit of guidance on that material and why it's best to use. And then Jim McNabb called me the other day with another remedy that they put in play in Lancaster, where they've got some concrete sheets that they've used to help shore up banks and things like that, that he's going to get some pricing on that we might be able to put into play as well. Those would be even easier to use than the aforementioned clay and pavement process. So more to come on that. We do have a rather big list. We're going to sink our teeth into it very quickly. We are in danger of losing some other roads as we speak, and we're just on the brink of the spring rainy season, so we've got to get to work on it here pretty quick. We've had some dialogue with some members as it relates to ice and water around our post offices. We dispatched a team out to take a look at that. Jim McNabb and Rick, that heads up our maintenance department, went and looked at some remediation type stuff. We originally set out to move the door so that it was out of the path of the water flow, and this is all about managing water, folks. We also set out to put in a little bit of pavement that would be heated, so that in the wintertime we could heat it and it wouldn't freeze and present us with ice. We're still not down to exactly what it is we're going to do. I think we're pretty close. But look for some activity at both post offices in the not too distant future. Spectrum. The update with Spectrum is that we have approved the fiber cable that we want them to bring in to the lodge to upgrade our Wi-Fi. That's currently in the works. We're waiting on them. The ball's in their court with some things that they've got to do and get approved. We've also explored what it would take to get that signal to the clubhouse, so we have better Wi-Fi at the clubhouse. It involves a tower, and we're very leery of a tower. We're trying to figure out what kind of a tower, how high it would have to be, elevations, things of that nature. So we're still in the process of vetting what that's all about. But if it's conducive to us being able to do it and it looks aesthetically pleasing, we will probably move forward with that as well.
So that's Wi-Fi off a tower so that everybody can get it?
Possibility.
I mean, so are you saying that we could have Wi-Fi in the community through this?
It's a possibility. I can't say.
Interesting.
We didn't set out to do that.
Yeah.
We set out to direct a signal and get Wi-Fi at the clubhouse.
Okay.
But I mean, Eric, you probably know more about that than we do. I mean, we're at the we're at the guidance of Spectrum.
Yeah. Okay.
What about, have you seen the towers? I've seen them like up in Dublin. They look like a pine tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you really look at it, I mean, it's a lot better than the thing at the barn.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be some old Christmas trees.
Do they have one that looks like a sequoia so we can bury the one in the barn? No, but you know what? I mean, it doesn't hurt. We'll ask questions like that.
Would we be the only ones that benefit from the tower? Meaning just Hideaway Hills, no one else?
I don't think we're deep enough into that.
It wouldn't be anybody.
Okay, so it's just us that would benefit. Okay.
I learned something myself.
That'd be cool. Anyway, sorry.
We are in the process of going back over our depreciation schedule for 2018. When we went to vote on whether or not we had enough money in the fund to buy a fairway mower, a zero-turn mower, and a greens mower, we determined that the price that we had plugged in for the fairway mower was wrong. It was way too low. It caused us to shift priorities to what we could buy this year and continue to repair our fairway mower until next year. We gave the green light to Randy to buy the zero turn and the greens mower, and that led to our having enough funds in the current budget to go in and do a complete rewrite of our database for the office and the way that it runs.
I'll let Randy get into that a little bit later, but that's something we've had our eye on for quite some time and have struggled to find a vendor that was capable and reputable enough to handle what we wanted. We held some conference calls with her. She's the lady that currently supports us. She's located in Minnesota. And we've done very well by her, which is something we've struggled to do over the last 5 or so years. So we have also held some meetings within the last 3 weeks with Matt and Kat upstairs in the lodge to try to hash out ways to make our lodge more profitable. No big secret that that's the hole in the side of our boat as we look at what monies it takes to run Hideaway Hills. And so John Blankenship, myself, Jim Krieger, Matt, and Kat all sat down and brainstormed and listened to some of their ideas 2 or 3 Wednesdays ago. And we put together a plan of action to try to make some necessary improvements. Doesn't guarantee that it will work, but it includes advertising, which we've tried before, but in different places and in different rotations that you get with some of the larger signage companies around, and we hope to garner more attention. Matt seems to think there's some opportunity in corporate events and such, which he said normally starts to pick up ahead of steam as it gets a little bit warmer and people start to move around a little bit. But make no mistake about it. I mean, it's got to be a top priority of what we're doing because it is a substantial hit to the bottom line on an annual basis. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you for that report. Okay, we'll move on to the general manager's report. Randy?
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. That's pretty cool. Just wanted to give you delinquency totals. The regular assessments in February was 32,866 delinquent. They went up a little bit this month to 35,208, but I think we can take care of that pretty easily. Then the roads were in February were 2,570, and the roads this month was 2,790. That went up a little bit as well. Of course, that for the roads is mostly late fees on the roads, because roads will not be due this year until June 1st. So. Also, I didn't know if you noticed or not when you came in, probably not, that we've got a new concrete pour back here. Yeah, done by Excavating. He was the low bidder. He did a great job. We wanted to get that done before the deck project started. We needed to get that done, and he was very adamant about getting here and getting that done before April 1st, when we told him was the date we wanted it done by. And he did a great job on that. So when you get a chance, take a look at that. Also, as you know, the amphitheater was wired, didn't look real good. It was adequate, but it didn't look real great with the conduit running across the concrete. We were worried about people tripping over it. So we have changed that out. What we did was we're running it off the pole over there. South Central was agreed to run us a line, and for $80, that's all they're charging us. And we trenched from the pole down to the back of the amphitheater, and then we, nice enough, Ricketts Excavating cut us a trench through the concrete, so we buried the conduit. So that is almost hooked up. We're just waiting on South Central Power to do the final hookup. And then electrical will all be the same, with a little extra boost if you need it.
Nice.
And so that will be completed here as soon as they get back in to hook it up. I've been having some complaints on load limits. People see vehicles coming in and then they get turned away when they want to bring something in. Well, one thing for sure, we were over limit when we did the concrete work out here, but we felt, management felt that was a necessary thing. Also, our food trucks, they have to come in. Propane trucks have to come in so people can have propane. Our septic system trucks have to come in if somebody needs their septic pumped. Other than that, unless it's an emergency issue, I'm going to turn them down. And I'll just let you people know that. This year has been crazy as far as our roads are concerned, because with the sudden freeze, the thaws, they get really, really soft. And basically, I hate turning people down, but I'll tell you what, trying to service these roads is just very, very expensive.
When we had inquiries about whether or not we had granted access to people, the first thing obviously I did was pick up the phone and call Randy. He could recite on the phone without even looking at anybody or anything who he's let come in here. And as long as I support it, I commit to you that we'll keep it in check. And I trust Randy's judgment on this. I mean, this isn't anything new. And I know that we've got a lot of contractors and folks like that who are really inconvenienced with the load limits. If you remember, we really shortened them up this year, and we made them deeper, into the winter, just to grant people more time to get stuff done. We decided that we were going to turn it towards coinciding with the township and the county load limits and things like that, which I think is the right direction to take it. But I don't think there's anything underhanded going on here, and I can stand behind that. Okay.
Any other questions on that? Okay, Chaz, talking a little bit about the database, and I'll move forward with that. That database that we have now, an Microsoft Access database that was developed in 2005 by a guy that knew exactly what he was doing. He passed away in about 2011 or 12, something around there. He helped us. He knew he was going to pass away. He had stomach cancer. He helped us interview 5 or 6 different people to take over his position, and was not successful in finding anybody to do that. And we've struggled with several people since then. We found a lady from Minnesota about 2 years ago that works specifically with Access database. We employed her to keep an eye on our system and fix things that was needed. What she has come to find out that it's really hard to take over from somebody else's custom system, and she actually did a pretty good job of it. But recently things have been going wrong because the macros just do not mesh much anymore. And if you remember, we had to send out an e-blast because we couldn't get the statements out, and that was because that database broke down. And we had a hard time getting a hold of her simply because our emails was going into her spam. She's fixed that now. She has agreed to build us a new database, and so that if and at any time she leaves, somebody else can actually read it.
It's going to be access-based?
Yeah, the access-based database, and that's what the problem was. She's using formulas so anybody can fix it that knows a little bit about access. So we'll be in good shape there. And she said actually she's been working with it enough that it's only going to take her about a month and a half to build it, which is not bad.
Is there a quick answer that you can give to why we don't use QuickBooks to do all that?
There's much more involved with our database than you can get out of QuickBooks. I mean, we do use QuickBooks,
right?
That's not as a database system.
Eric, we've got a lot of unique things that we do.
Okay.
Gate openers, boat stickers, you name it, we've got to be able to keep track of it. One of the things that we stumbled upon during our search for a company to finance the rebuild of the dam was the gentleman that Jim Sigafus ultimately got to finance with Popular Association. They had a homeowners software business that they used and that they had sold to quite a few homeowners associations. We dug in with them and really thought that we had found what we needed to be able to encompass the gate openers and the boat stickers and such. Unfortunately, just before we decided to sign with them, they decided to get out of the business. And I mean, it was at the last second. We put a lot of work into it, so we had to scrap that. And when it gets down to the point where we can't print statements, we got to move on it pretty quick.
Yeah.
So I think this is the right direction to take it, and it's reasonably priced. Some other software packages that we had looked at earlier in the year, were upwards of $100 grand. So.
Okay, thank you. I wasn't thinking about that other stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of other stuff there. Also want to move on to the chef has a new pizza oven. That was an amenity project that was high on the list, and we ordered that. That came in last Thursday or Friday. They installed it Monday, and I guess he's using it tonight. So
that makes us all happy.
Try the pizza. Try the pizza. Also, it's a conveyor style that a lot of pizza shops use, and so it'll get them out quicker. And I don't know what the rate is, but he bought a triple so he can get more pizzas out than you can eat one night. Right now.
We should certainly share that with our committees that need to buy pizzas,
Oh yeah,
from
absolutely.
time to time.
Yeah,
So.
won't have to worry about timing now, that's for sure. Also, one of the big discussions last summer was the yellow speed bumps. Nobody liked the yellow speed bumps because they were pretty bad, and so we are, with approval from management, we're going to replace them this year with the speed humps, the black ones that are not near as high and it's easier to go over. So look forward to that. And I think the last thing on my list is the security boat. We completely redid the security boat. We stripped all the plywood off. We put new plywood, new vinyl, new console. It's got lights. And
Pinstriping?
Pardon me?
Pinstriping?
It may.
It's coming.
It may.
How about a radar?
Well, we did have a member that donated a GoPro camera.
Nice.
So that will be installed on that.
Very
So
well.
this issue that happened here, we'll be able to back it up with other than just words.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That sounds like he's got it.
And that's all I have, unless somebody has questions.
So, thank you, Randy.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into committee reports, and we'll just bounce around the rooms. Dwayne, take us out.
Range Committee had the 24th, 25th of last month. Right here, we had NRA trainer in. 10 of us attended that section to be a basic range safety officer. 6 of us went on to become chief range safety officers, which means we can train, and there's a training part in there too, to teach you how to teach kind of thing. So we can train officers ourselves without having the NRA come back in. Pay on that. So it was nice. I missed it. Maybe there's a better vetting process we could do, but we got through. It started at 8 o'clock in the morning. We went till about 10 the first day. Along about 8 o'clock, the father-daughter dance started. Grueling 2.5 days. So I don't know. I missed it. I checked it, and my kid and my granddaughter went, and I didn't catch it that we were gonna be down under 30 stomping kids.
No, they were jamming too.
I went out when we had a little break, and they were having a blast. Maybe options. I didn't catch it, so I can't say nay about anything other than scheduling that, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say anything. We're going to start with some of the amenity stuff, I think Saturday, with battles and things like that.
Great.
Good. For that.
Fritz?
All right, the garden committee met for their organizational meeting on March 10th, and they had all the participating gardeners come as well. Every bed's assigned. There's one request outstanding. So somebody has a bunch of beds that we can afford. All right. No. Yeah. There's 24 members participating this year. The first work day is April 7th. Garden Fest is July 21st. And no additional committees are going to be needed for the task for that. For Adopt an Area, they're still working on getting together. So hopefully we'll talk soon and get things started.
Thank you. Linda?
Just several things. Lakes Committee, just so everyone knows, the next meeting is April 5th. A reminder, excuse me, have a frog. Reminder that the pontoon launch is April 28th. Breakfast starts at 7:30. The launch is at 8. If you wish to volunteer, contact Sue Pyle. Then the tadpole fishing contest coming up in June. I'd like to make a motion that $200 from the Lakes Committee Fund be set aside for refreshments for that event.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second with Dwayne. And does everybody vote yes or no? Vote, everybody in favor?
Aye.
Are those opposed? Passes.
Then going on, are we still planning to plant trees in front of the pontoon?
Yes.
Storage area?
I had a brief conversation with Sue Pyle at Brenda's going away reception, and we need to we do need to order those. We're going to get Patrick Lynch to help us figure out what kind of trees we need, and we're also going to buy the trees that we need for the Porta-John area at the amphitheater when we get ready to do that as well, so we get them all at one time, get a better price.
Yeah, just if I can, because while I'm thinking about it, when I was looking at the map the other day, and I don't know, the next time we go to print maps, we probably ought to update it, because it's still showing the ballpark and the parking area for the dam and all that's kind of been changed. I don't know who handles that.
Not a bad idea. There's a
that
committee that
out.
controls
We took
the
that out of
maps.
there.
Pardon me?
Well, we took that out of there.
The
The parking lot at the dam was out of there, the ball diamond was out of there.
out of the new maps?
Yeah.
Or maybe I haven't put it in the map then.
Yeah.
Sorry, Linda.
You got that taken care of quick.
And then the last thing is the ORV committee, and it's just a reminder that the next meeting is April 9th, and it's at the clubhouse.
Thank you. Okay. I have,
Excuse me,
yeah.
who seconded Linda's motion for?
Dwayne.
Thanks, Dwayne.
Wait. Okay. I got a few reports. New member committee met last week, I believe. They're working on updating the packs that new members get. They get a nice folder and it has all kinds of information in it about living down here in Hideaway. So that's being updated. We'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to approve the new member reception on May 26th at 10 a.m.
I'll second that.
Dave will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Long-range planning, 10 a.m. Yeah. Long-range planning met last week as well. They're working diligently on updating the 5-year plan. I saw some prerequisite stuff, and it looks like things are moving in the right direction on that. They want to have a septic and water well discussion. And as a matter of fact, Ken Yost has actually got everything all set up. He gave me a flyer with the date and the time, and I can't find it as I was getting ready to come to this meeting. So I will get that to you guys for an Evo.
And I'm sorry, that was what group wants to do that?
It was long range planning.
Okay.
And anyways, and Ken's reached out to the Hocking County Health Department, and they're going to come in and give a talk. Just because we have so many city people, myself included, who don't necessarily understand how a septic system works or how a water well works and what you should do maintenance-wise and so forth. And so they're going to give a talk. So I will. I'll put that out or ask for a.
Was that coming up?
Thank you. Yeah, do you remember the date?
I want to say April 7th, but I'm not 100%. Is that a Thursday?
Yeah, it was a Thursday. So, anyways,
the 7th fall on a Thursday?
Well, I think it's the 18th, but I
Okay,
wasn't
you
sure.
should be right.
I need to check on that.
So this is the Hocking County one. So are Fairfield County people allowed?
They didn't want to come. Okay. Anyway, that's all I have.
And I have a question. Who seconded the new member reception?
I did.
Thank you. I'm running away furiously.
Tom?
The golf committee has received their new fountain to be installed on the number 4 pond. Maintenance is holding it until they have time to install it. They are working on a memorial sign to be displayed on the number 4 tee box. It will read the Nick Panacea Memorial Tee. They hope to have it in place for the memorial tournament on May 12th. Scott Martin is installing cork on the wall of the clubhouse surrounding the 2 dartboards. All tournaments have been scheduled, approved, and posted. They have scheduled May 5th as a work day. Rain date will be Sunday, May 6th, and the course will not be closed during that time. And they are currently working on projects to be accomplished that weekend. The Health and Wellness Committee is working on the planning stages of the workout facility. They have their first event of the year coming up May 26th at 9 a.m., the 3rd annual 5K. Planning has begun, and they're hoping that the 5K will be the biggest yet. They are also taking pledges for the workout facility. Once they have reached their goal to upgrade the building, they will present a game plan to the board management for approval. And tennis has nothing to report.
Do they have a formal way to accept pledges at this stage of the game? What's the process?
I think they're just putting it out there on Facebook and also putting some flyers. They're going to put flyers around in the lodge and the clubhouse, and I believe the post office. They don't want to take the money right now, just in case, it doesn't block. They're just getting some commitments and checking the building out, and, once it's approved, then, they'll start collecting the pledges.
Okay. Great, thank you. Val?
Yes, the activities for youth. I'd like to make a motion that we approve an event, Saturday, April 14th from 6 to 9 to be in the lodge. Everything's worked out as far as just like it was for the father-daughter dance. So this would be for a mother-son dance, Saturday, April 14th, 6 to 9. So I have a motion that we approve that.
Good. That was Linda. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passed.
Also, I would like to ask for them, for that event, to approve funds from the committee funds for up to $400.
Second.
Dwayne, second.
Thank you.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
I'll explain that. That's all I got.
That's it. Thank you. Dave?
Nothing from social other than the next meeting is March 29th to discuss all the upcoming concerts and the auction and the dance.
Very nice. Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, looks like it is open forum. And I've got the list. And
I'm ready. You can.
Yep, it doesn't look like we have anybody that would like to talk, so we don't need to have an open forum.
Now, may I ask that we thank our deputy?
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Very welcome.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
very much.
Enjoy the evening.
Thank you
You
too.
too.
Okay, I guess we're not gonna have an open forum, so we'll move on to unfinished business. And we're gonna shoot it over to Randy first about staff training.
Well, this was on the agenda last month. What I have done, well, what we decided on was the fact that our security guards needed some training on how to handle the situation that the gentleman, Brian, was complaining about. And so we got together with Cheryl Burnside, who's Mike's wife, of course, very knowledgeable lady. She put together a schedule, and she's sticking to it. She interviewed me to see exactly what we need, or asking my opinion on what we need. She also interviewed, I think she talked to Chaz. If she talked to you, talked to Chaz. And she's talked to Randall also to see exactly what's needed. She's putting together a program, and we'll set up a training session for our security guards sometime in April. Wanted to do it before summer, before the activities on the lake started. And that's moving along. She put a schedule together, and it's really, she's sticking right to it, and putting together a program. And she's doing that for nothing, which I appreciate that also.
Thank you to Cheryl.
We'll yeah, she's a nice lady. And we'll make sure she gets something out of that, even though she didn't ask for anything. But yeah, that's kind of what's happening.
Okay, that's great. Any questions for Randy? No? Okay, move on to the next. Tom has a discussion on home sale parties / residential businesses.
We talked about this on the last meeting. Since then, we've gotten some board response back from the lawyer, Jeff Spangler. As far as discussing it tonight, we can do that. If anybody has some suggestions or ideas on how we should handle it. And Jeff's last paragraph, he's talking about, should we do it through rules or regulations? And he's proposing that the rules will give us more flexibility. Unless, somebody has a great idea how to do it, I propose that we ask Tim Krause from the Constitution Committee to take a look at it. Tim was here earlier, he's gone now, but have them take a look at it, maybe come back to us with some recommendations.
I think it's a good idea. Do we need to vote on that, or we can go forward with that? Okay, let's take it to Gus.
No, because there's a lot to go over here, but this is a good solid foundation. Him, Spangler pulling the two different townships' rules and then summarizing what he thought. I mean, we've got a great foundation here, so.
I think give it a little more thought instead of, because I think we need to do it right the first time instead of.
Exactly.
I'll get with Tim and see if he's willing to. I actually already talked to him.
Great. Okay. Thank you. We'll shoot that off to Constitution Committee. Okay, got to reaffirm the e-votes, and there were only 3. I believe the way that Greg does this is he reads it off, tells you what how we voted, and then we vote to approve. So we have an e-vote on 3/8 to approve an Easter egg hunt March 31st from 1 to 3 at the amphitheater, and up to $400 to fund the event for the. Didn't we just do that with? No, that was for the. I'm sorry, that was for the father-daughter dance. Okay. You vote to approve the Easter egg hunt March 31st, 1 to 3 at the amphitheater, up to $400 to fund the event for activities for youth. It was an 8-0 vote. There was also an e-vote on 3/12 to approve the 3rd annual 5K run on May 26th at 9 a.m., sponsored by the Health and Fitness Committee. That was also an 8-0 vote. The other one that we have is a 7-0, so I think we need to vote to approve the 8-0. I believe that's what Greg has done in the past. So I'd like to I guess we need to make a motion to approve the 8-0 votes on the 2 that I just discussed. And I'll make that motion. So moved by Linda, and I'm sorry, Linda second, because I made the motion, okay, right? And there's no discussion. I would end discussion. So, all in favor? I'm sorry, guys. Any opposed? Okay, motion passed. Okay, we have a vote of 7-0 in favor to reimburse Supile $30 for a micro disc and one micro disc reader for the camera to be used on the security boat, and $44.72 for 50 Hideaway Hills oval stickers to be sold at the clubhouse, for a total of $76.72 from the Lakes Committee funds. Can I get a second? And that is Fritz is a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, so that is we've handled all the e-votes. Okay. And new business topics. Randy, you were going to talk about the grandfathered multiple lot ownership issue.
How this started, basically, anybody that purchased a lot before 1975, they could have as many lots as they wanted and only pay one assessment. But it also, and that's in the code, and also it says in the code, any total or partial change of ownership after January 1st, 1975, and any construction on more than one of said lots shall remove a lot from this classification. What brought this up is a couple long-time members have passed away here recently. One being George Rowe, and his estate is now owner of his property, but he has 3 lots where his house is, and from what I can figure out, it has not been joined. But where this came up is we had one from a person from his estate saying that he has a person interested in purchasing that property. Well, also with that property, there's a separate lot, which is on the other side of the lake, which is not adjacent to that property, that with this rule, that he didn't have to pay assessments on. So the question came to me, or somebody brought up the question of, okay, what's going to happen if they sell those 3 lots with that house? What's going to happen to that other lot? Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen to that other lot. The George Rowe estate is going to have to pay a full on that lot because it's a change. Yeah. And so that brought up another question, and that is Rick Levinsky, who, a great guy, passed away here last year. He has 12 lots. 3 of those 12 are joined, and he's only paying, Peggy, or his estate is only paying 1 1/3 assessments for those 12 lots. So basically, 8 lots are free. That's the way it was set up. What I'm looking at is what's going to happen when they go to sell, because whoever they sell that to is going to owe 1/3 of assessment on each one of those 8 lots. And so the question is how to handle this. I see you have a question.
Why a third of an assessment? Why not a whole assessment?
Well, if they buy the house, they'll be paying the full assessment, and then anything else will be 1/3.
The 12 are together?
They're not the 12.
They're not joined. They're not joined. There's 8 other lots that are part of that ownership.
Well, okay, but talking about George Rowe, I'm sorry.
Okay.
The house in the 3, that could be sold.
Yes.
But then if they want to sell the other one.
They could.
With those 3, it could be sold separately. Then how much assessment would they pay?
Well, they would pay 1/3.
Okay.
If they bought the whole thing.
All 4.
All 4. Yes. Unless they decide to build a house on that, then it'd be a full.
Right.
So they're
but the question,
grandfathered then?
No, they would not be grandfathered. The question was, who would pay assessments on that if they sold the 3? And
not the 4.
But not the 4. And the state would have to still pay that one full assessment. Yeah.
A full assessment.
Yeah, a full assessment. Yeah.
That'd be the way I think.
Yes. Right. And then, so I went through our database and looked up, and there's several. I looked up and found about 20 members that owns more than the 3 lots. For instance, Ken Ackerman, he owns 7 lots. Right now, he's paying 1 1/3 assessment. So there's 3 which are on the opposite side of the road, are not adjacent, but considered on the opposite side of the road, which would draw another 3rd assessment if he ever decides to sell his property.
And what's the benefit to him of owning all those lots?
Just a property owner. He just wanted
Green
a lot.
space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Green
I mean,
space.
Kim and I
Built
own,
there.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
2 different, groups of lots that are contiguous,
Yeah.
but we pay
So these
2
are
full
all
assessments.
contiguous then?
Right, yes.
The ones you're talking about are all.
Well, it just depends. Because
Not
because
with
they're
Lewinsky,
across
I
the
think
road.
those are
Not with
here and there.
Lewinsky, not with George Road, not with Ackerman. So that leads the question of, because of the result of the George Road's question, whether I ought to contact these members and let them know the fact that if they ever sell those lots, whoever they sell them to is not going to be under the grandfathered clause anymore. And that was sort of the question I have of you
That's
folks.
already in our code, is it not?
It is, but whether or not the members realize that, understand that, that's the other
Well,
question.
I would venture to say they have to realize it because they are the grandfathered party.
True, but whether or not they know that when they sell, the people that they sell it to, are they going to tell those people that, hey, you're going to have to pay a 3rd assessment of each one of these lots? That's kind of where the question is.
No, wouldn't we let them know then?
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Here in the office.
That's what I'm asking, if we should, well, we don't know. when people put
You
their
can't let
property
them
up for
really
sale.
know all in advance because you don't know what their status is, and certainly
True,
you can't
true.
predict some of the bad things that have happened to you.
Well, I'm just, it's sort of a protection of our members. Because if they're wanting to sell their property, I don't want them to not disclose the fact that whoever buys it is going to have to pay a 3rd or a full assessment on that.
Well, and if it were, as you mentioned earlier, they could sell maybe 1 lot.
Sure.
Out of that 8 or however many.
Sure.
And
sure.
then that would be a full assessment.
That would be a full
Sure.
assessment. Yeah.
So it's just, I understand your concern about that, but it's kind of like, what you had said, Chaz, they're the exception. People who are the exception generally know they're the exception and know the deal they're getting, but.
It's kind of hard to believe that we've still got 20 members
Yeah.
that were a part of that group that are still around.
Yeah, what I did is I went to the database to find people that had 3 lots that weren't joined. Excuse me. Typically, we mark all those, and I went back and studied. Well, I had to dig deeper back because typically they have that on their deed that they're joined. These didn't. So I went back to the prior member and found a couple that it did say on their deed that it was joined. So it's not going to be all that big a deal. It's just the fact that when I first looked at it, I couldn't tell whether they were or not.
Well, I guess if we know and maybe we should give them a heads up, a phone call.
Well, that's what I
With the-
thought.
And just,
Yeah,
but
that's what I thought.
as
So when the
far as been able to predict who owns multiple lots, who might be
Yeah.
doing something that's difficult.
So
Yeah,
when the
right.
title company calls to go and to clarify everything, wouldn't we at that point let them know that there's all these contingencies with this other lots and so forth?
We probably would.
Okay, so they'd be notified. Somebody would be blindsided by us.
Well,
But you might get that far and then the buyer backs out,
That's
like,
correct.
hey, I didn't know that.
That's correct.
But
Yeah.
the agent
One of
should
those.
have told them that. Having said that, there have been times when the agent do not
Right,
give
sure,
people
exactly.
proper information.
Right.
So it doesn't sound like the board needs to take any action other than to provide you the
No, I
permission
just wanted
as
to
a
make
courtesy
the
to
board
call.
aware and see if they
Right,
thought that would
right.
be a good
And that's a
idea.
good thing to bring up, you know?
Well, I think too that Randy has just encountered the first group of lots that someone desires to do something with.
Right, that's where we're
And
going.
that called it to his attention, so he wants to get it out on the table.
Okay.
So that
I
we're all
would go
aware.
ahead and just tell them right away and then also, you know,
Yeah, Randy, I
Okay.
don't think we need to make.
Okay.
We need to-
It's not a big deal, I just wanted to make the board aware of this situation and ask for guidance on how to move forward, or whether I should or not. Yeah,
Okay.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Well, I appreciate you finding out that we have that many members that still have, it's interesting.
Yeah.
That's good.
I wouldn't.
Okay, so we are not needing to make a motion on that?
No.
Okay.
That's information.
Great, well, thank you. New members?
We have new members. We have Amanda Shazer, lot 277, James Ford, lot 383, Gregory Price, lots 15, 90, and 91, and 1609, and Virginia Snoffer, lot 978. And I move that we approve these new members.
Second?
Second.
Dwayne? All in favor?
Aye.
Not in favor? Opposed? Nobody? Okay, it passes.
They're welcome. Welcome.
All right, additional business. I don't believe we have anything on the agenda. Does anybody have anything to bring up? Fantastic. Okay. Then I think I'd like to make, would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So, let's go with Dwayne on the first and Linda on the second,
Okay,
and we are done.
and the time is.
Nice job, Eric.
8:22. Good job.
Good job, Eric.
What was the time?
8:22.
Like I said.
Really want to shut this down.
Yep.
That's all, folks. You were talking about stuff in trees. I was wondering